Guys, welcome on into Three Bold Takes. And today we have some news actually out of the ACC. For those of you that don't know, Clemson and Florida State have had lawsuits going against the ACC for their terrible deals, their viewership deals, and also the buyouts. This is something that Florida State and Clemson have wanted to do, it seems like, for quite a while. They think that the deal they have with the ACC now is not right. The amount of money they would have to pay to buy out is unbelievable. And so, with that, the ACC Board of Directors have voted and agreed to change the financial distribution model that the ACC has currently. It'll now go to a viewership based model on how the money is distributed to the programs. That favors Clemson and Florida State because they make up, what is that, 32, 33-ish% of total viewership of the entire ACC. Therefore, they're going to get more money. Chase, what are your initial thoughts on this? Are you glad the ACC bended, or do you wish that they would have kind of held straight?
I think the ACC only bends here because this could be a Big 12 moment for them, and they see how it's gone for the Big 12 losing Texas and Oklahoma. They've had to kind of supplement with a lot of Group of Five teams jumping to Power Five slash just really holding on to, do you love the Big 12 enough to continue to watch? And I don't think the ACC wants to play that battle with losing Florida State and Clemson, because I think if they lose both of them, I think it really hurts them in the long run. Like I'm not talking to, and maybe it's because I'm in the South, maybe that's what it is, but I'm not talking to a lot of people that are turning on the TV to watch Wake Forest, to watch Syracuse. When I hear ACC, I'm thinking Miami, I'm thinking Florida State. And every other year you'll have an off team like a Duke or a SMU this season, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think I think honestly, if I'm the two organizations, the best thing that can happen. You stay in a conference that you're probably going to be top end elite talent in most of the time. You can recruit a little easier, more so than if you went to a bigger power conference. I think in the Big Ten or SEC, and then also it's not messing up any more geography lines within conferences, and then you get the money that you wanted. You now are the Texas Oklahoma of the ACC. You're going to get your money because people are turning in when hey, ACC matchups going on. Boom, I'm turning on Clemson. I'm turning on Florida State. I'm not so much turning on Clemson on in the Big Ten. I'm not turning on Florida State as much in the SEC, because there are better, bigger teams playing. So when you look at the ACC slate, who's playing what, people are going to view Clemson and Florida State more. So I think it's great that the ACC figured it out, and it's even better for those organizations to keep those two and stay in tow. Quinn?
Yeah, I apologize about that phone call. That was the ghost of the Big 12 calling me, and they were calling to tell me that none of this matters. Not a single bit of it means anything except for a positive for Florida State and Clemson. Let me explain why. The buyout for their contract starting 2020 after 2029-2030 season drops exponentially, making it easy for them to get out of the conference. All right. So this equal revenue or this revenue sharing based on viewership model just allows them to stay competitive with the teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. However, the Big 12 also had an unequal revenue share that directly favored Texas and Oklahoma. Where are they?
That's true. That's
At
true.
the end of the day, and what we saw, we didn't get to make a video on this due to stuff going on in our personal lives, but with what we saw with the SEC and the Big Ten's takeover of the playoff, it's just the beginning, man. And Florida State and Clemson are not going to want to be left out in the cold. So I really do think all of this is just to allow them to stay competitive monetarily for the next couple of years. They're going to leave the ACC anyway. So I think this just bought the conference maybe 4 or 5 years, but I don't really think it's going to change a whole lot long term. I think 2032, 2033, we're still looking at Florida State and Clemson in another football conference.
Yeah, I think it's of note that The way the SEC and the Big Ten works is it's not the revenue sharing. It's an equal amount distributed, but it's a much bigger number than what they were able to achieve in the Big 12 for Texas and Oklahoma. And this is going to be the same way with Clemson and Florida State. Now, I will say this though, it opens the door to if they were to if the ACC could go and poach somebody. And I say that in a sense of like if they went and poached, let's say somebody from, the SEC, that smaller school, lower viewership in the SEC, but could potentially end up getting more in the ACC. That could be something to look at. I don't think it would happen, but when you go to 2029, 2030 and the buyout drops below $100 million, that's easily achievable for Clemson and Florida State, especially when you look at the amount of money that they're going to save since they're dropping the lawsuits and not dragging it on until 2030 for another 5 years. But each year, the buyout's going to go less and less and less. So I think it would be before 2029, you would see these teams jump ship. As soon as this deal goes through, the buyouts, I think, is around $200 million, and then year by year it will decrease over time. So I'm looking at probably before 2029, because they know that they can make up that money on the back end with whatever deal that they come up with from the Big Ten or the SEC. But honestly, good news here. You never want to see schools fighting with their conference in the courts. It's not a good look. It's bad precedent for the sport altogether. So good on the ACC for actually coming together and getting this done. Well, if that's all that we have, that has been the news out of the ACC. So guys, let us know down below. Do you like this? Do you wish the ACC kind of would have held their feet to the fire, Clemson and Florida State's feet to the fire, and made them choose and pay that buyout? Or do you like them kind of settling and calming things down? I'm Freddie, been joined by Chase and Quinn. We're Three Bold Takes. We'll see you guys in the next one.